All right, hey everyone, this is Joshua, lead developer on Ultimate Disc Golf, and I'm really excited to be with you all today. Happy Saturday. We're celebrating the early access Steam release for the game that we've worked on for quite a while, and so what we're doing this weekend is we're going to celebrate and we're going to do some giveaways. And first, before we get into all that, I just want to first say thank you from all the team here at Tree for everyone that's purchased the game on early access. So we already have people from 5 different countries that have purchased and played the game. So having that, kind of global kind of reach, I think that speaks to the sport a little bit, as much as it does like what we're building. So thank you to everyone around the world that has tried out the game. So we're working really hard on the next release, but today we're going to just go ahead and hop into this. And I realize I'm uh, got the wrong view up here. Okay, I'm gonna change my video input here before we get started. I got the wrong. I've seen infinite me, and nobody wants to see that. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to reset here real quick. I'm sorry, everyone. We'll be right back on in just a couple minutes. I gotta reset this. Apologies. Okay, sorry about that. We are back, and I've got our random number generator pulled up here. Um, we'll kind of give people a second to hop on. I've kind of posted around our different social media. So, like I said, we're just going to be doing some celebrating today. We're really happy with the response so far to the early access release. And so, for anybody who's not familiar with early access, how that works is essentially we've set a price during alpha and beta that's going to be far less than what the eventual price for the full version will be. And so when you purchase through early access, you actually get the full game unlocked in your library permanently. So the caveat is that you can only play what we have done, but you get all the updates through the life of the game if you go ahead and purchase through early access. So, this is really for people that are excited about the game now. With early access, you're not really supposed to sell it on, what could be. Excuse me. I think anybody that's followed the progress and kind of joined us along for this journey will kind of realize that we have a lot of stuff planned and we've been making progress pretty quickly so far. So if you're excited about that, we definitely invite you to get the game through early access if you haven't yet. That being said, before we get into the actual celebration and giveaway, want to kind of talk about what we're going to do with the itch builds. So we have the free alpha right now on itch.io that anybody's been able to go and download and play, and we appreciate everybody that's done that so far. So we're going to continue to also release the free builds for at least a while during alpha. So the plan is once we have polished up a lot of the core gameplay mechanics and kind of what we feel is solid final alpha, that will be the end of what's published to itch. And then anybody who has early access, as we continue to start to build towards beta, you'll continue to get periodic updates in your library. So hopefully we're going to kind of hit the best of both worlds and allow people that just want to maybe try out the game to still get a version through itch as we improve to up to a certain point. And then we're going to do the same thing during beta as well. Okay, I just had to pull chat up here real quick. Happy Saturday, Pappy Jasper. Thanks again for trying out the game. Um, we feel it's a pretty good deal. He says it is a great deal, and I'm not going to argue with you on that one. Okay, so The first giveaway that we want to go ahead and do this afternoon is the one that we have going on Twitter. So we basically did a post and said anybody that retweets this post, we're going to go ahead and give away Steam access to. So we appreciate everybody that retweeted that, and we've got 15 people entered into that. So I'm going to use this random number generator that you're seeing on my screen here, hopefully. And rather than show anybody's names, I'm just going to go ahead and run that, and then we're going to send the message to them. Okay, so we're going to run this here. And number 6. Let me check the Twitter here. Okay, I'm going to check our retweets. Okay, so congratulations, Twitter user you, and that is spelled YU, so it's pretty short, and pretty sure I got that one right. So we're gonna message you on Twitter. I don't think that they're watching this at the moment, but congratulations. We're gonna be sending you a Steam key for the full version of the game. So appreciate you getting involved and hope you get a chance to try it out. We're definitely happy that you've been having fun playing the game. Pappy Jasper says, I've been having a lot of fun playing. And so, Pappy Jasper, I know, is a relatively new player, so we want to welcome him to the community. And he's sent us a message or two about what the game's meant to him, and I'm not going to go into detail about all that, but we appreciate those kind words that you kind of told us about what that game's kind of meant for you. So that having that kind of connection already is just amazing as a developer personally for me. Okay, so done with that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our development build. Bear with me here. I'm going to be checking a couple of social media things as a kind of pause in between what we're talking about today. So apparently we have construction and a lot of maintenance crews outside today. So I don't know if anybody could let me know how loud that background noise is. I might have to throw on my headset here just to make it a little clearer for everybody. Okay, he says there's a humming. Yeah, I might have to switch this up. I think I'll go ahead and do that before we get too much further. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, it's actually helping block out the noise for me too, so hopefully we're all good. So before we do any other giveaways, I'm just going to be working a little bit on a couple things that we want to include for the next release. So we want to make sure that Dusty Canyon gets included, and we've pretty much finished it up. So I have to kind of hook it into the menu system and make sure that's all set before we publish the next build. So I'm just looking for the right map here. Slash backslash. Think that looks good. Go ahead and test it out here. So as I'm working through this, if you're just joining us or you're hanging out today, we're celebrating the early access Steam release for Ultimate Disc Golf. Uh, while I'm kind of working on some of our dev stream stuff here, feel free to hop in and, let us know, how your weekend's going. We definitely like to hear about awesome courses. If you're into disc golf and that's why you're here, we're definitely looking for inspiration for new courses, places we might want to actually get out the summer and take a look at personally. So, appreciate any comments or anything you want to chat about. Okay, we're going to test that button, see if it's working. So load time will be a little bit longer because we're running the Unreal Engine editor and it's kind of not a package build. Hopefully it doesn't take too much longer. There we go. Okay, so we've got that hooked in. And we've had two courses out for a little bit, but we kind of wanted to go ahead and include something that I know people have been waiting on for kind of celebrating the Steam release. And so we don't have some of the hole signs here done. But we do have all the hole previews, so we pretty much have the first 9-hole course. So we're going to go ahead and try to include that in the next build. One thing I did want to mention about this course is that if you've seen some of the previews for it, we've kind of been talking about a 9-hole, but this is actually kind of a big open world map. It's not as big as, say, like a whole open world game, but this map here is actually going to hold a 9-hole, an 18-hole, and a 27-hole course. So the one we're going to include in the next bill is just the first 9-hole. And so we've got other courses already in work on this one that should be just as cool. Appreciate that, Pappy Jasper. He's watching on Twitch right now. Says, "Wow, I'm already liking this course. Looks cool." Yeah, this is so far I think one of my favorites, and I'll kind of show you the rest of it. That really is going to hold more, but doesn't have any like tees and baskets set on it yet. So I'm just doing just a little bit of final testing before we get this ready for packaging, and we're hoping to have the next release out this weekend to kind of coincide with uh, our early access release on Steam. Line this up here. Not too bad. Parkour down the cliff. So I'm going to go ahead and speak about a couple of things that are subtle changes you might not catch just from what I'm testing here. So after you throw the disc and it comes back to you, it now actually, before it was kind of a fading effect. Sorry about that. We got a comment here. So Pappy Jasper's asking, I keep seeing V for VR in the left corner. Is VR in the plans for the future? And it definitely is. It's this actually it's not active in this map, and I probably need to turn that off. But under the hood, it actually is already kind of built as far as being able to support motion controllers and VR headsets with the game. Welcome, Barbarian Stronghold Disc Golf, joining us on YouTube. Appreciate it. Says the Barbarian Stronghold Disc Golf course would be an awesome mini golf style map. Plus, I own it, by the way. Oh, very cool. I will definitely have to check that out. So I'm guessing you've got a YouTube channel there. So we're always looking for new ideas and course owners to connect with and kind of bring that full circle. So maybe after the stream or sometime in the near future, I'll kind of check in what you have, and yeah, if we can do something, we're definitely open to it and discussing it. Let's see. So I guess kind of on that same note, want to kind of reiterate and mention again, if you haven't checked out the Samui Swine Classic, going on this weekend. It's being covered by the Disc Golf Guy. So this is a tournament out in Thailand. So if you're not aware, it's the whole Southeast Asia area is definitely growing in terms of disc golf. And the owner, Nigel Mills, who's great, is running that tournament this weekend. And think like I said, that's being covered by the Disc Golf Guy on YouTube. The reason I bring it up, and he's been a huge supporter of what we're doing. So he is a former video game producer and is definitely giving us some great feedback, just kind of in some direct messages back and forth with him. And on top of that, it's actually allowed us to be a whole sponsor for the tournament this weekend, which we're really, really excited about. So we want to thank him again and definitely support his tournament and what they're trying to do to grow the sport out there. One little extra note: if everything works out, we're kind of in discussions to hopefully use their course out there as actual course in the game. So, kind of go along with what Barbarian was saying there. We've already got one, and we're definitely open to trying to work with some more. I think it would be really cool to have that crossover within the game. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the whole preview. I want to make sure we test these out for the final build. All right. Try big forehand. Got a good bounce there. Nice. Pappy Jasper says real good bounce, and I agree. It's actually, I think, one of the best bounces I've gotten on this hole ever. And with the current throw power, just because I'm not doing anything with like achievements and the leveling in terms of being able to build up your throw power, it's a pretty tough one to birdie at the moment. I'll take that. Anybody who's played the game a few times, if you see me birdie and she shakes her head at me, we're kind of finalizing some changes to the scoring, and so she's gonna kind of complain about or be kind of ho hum about pretty much any score I get at the moment. I'm not really gonna finalize that while we're on the stream. That's just one more thing that we have to finish up before we package the next build. That being said, that change and the reason she's shaking her head, if you look into the screen here, you can actually see that the scoreboards are fixed, so no longer kind of scores it from par. It's actually just on how many strokes. All right, that's looking good. I'll take that. I feel like we need to add some stairs or something right there, maybe. Okay, so before I do this next throw, I want to kind of discuss some of the feedback that we've gotten on the flight physics, and want to thank everybody for that feedback. First of all, it's helped us out immensely. And one thing that was a problem so far, Pappy Jasper is saying helicopter question mark, and I'm not sure what you're referring to. Helicopter to the next hole, maybe is what you were saying. Yeah, this excuse me. This course is pretty rugged at the moment. There's not much in terms of paths or bridges to anything. Luckily, our character is kind of like super ninja still at the moment. I don't know if we're gonna change that at all in the future to maybe make it a little more realistic. But personally, I kind of like being able to just hop off. I don't think it um, has to be super super realistic, like you fall off the cliff and break your leg and then can't throw anymore or something like that. So with the feedback that we were getting is when you throw the disc at a high angle, essentially the turn on the disc would be way too severe. So on a relatively straight flight path, if you're just throwing it straight out, the turn is pretty decent. But as you go to those higher degrees, let's say if you're wanting to throw it up a hill or something like that, the turn would cause it to just keep going. Once it curved, it would just float away. And so we got a lot of feedback on that. And we had a lot of things to do to get the game ready for the initial alpha release. So it's one of the things we knew we were going to need to improve. And so that's one of the things we've gotten definitely better, maybe not totally finalized for the next release. So I'm going to go ahead and test that now. Essentially, the longer the disc is in the air at a higher angle, the fade's going to take over more and drop. And so essentially, we're now ready to start tuning things like a fade rating compared to a turn rating. And as soon as that's polished up, angle of release on top of that will be next. So I think we'll go ahead and test that now. It should fade a bit, but after about 5 seconds in the air, the fade should take over on this disc. Yeah, that's a lot better. Hmm. Guess I'm gonna have to lay this one up. That'll work. Okay, sorry I had to shut down the Discord tab real quick. Hmm, definitely like that one. Okay, definitely want a forehand on this. See what happens when we get it up here a bit. Should start to drop. Yeah. Pappy Jasper says, reminding me a lot of Arizona. Yeah, I would definitely say that's what we were going for. I don't know that we modeled it after a particular course or anything. We were kind of going for a general look, and some things I still want to switch out. So I know that's like these rocks here. These were still kind of placeholders. The ones that were on the beginning first hole or two are probably going to replace some of these rock formations here.
Oh, that didn't go so good. Try that again. So this doesn't happen too often, but it's one I have pegged for the team to look at and for myself to look at if necessary. Mm, most trees you can get around, and we're going to be doing kind of a lean out for if you're standing right in front of a tree. But for something like this where the rocks are kind of like up at eye level and you try to throw up over it, sometimes it can be really difficult to not have the disc hit it and then trigger your next throw. Clouded up on me. Whew, I guess I'll have to take that. Luckily, I'm not too concerned about score at the moment. So I feel like this is looking pretty right here. I'm just gonna take a second to enjoy the view. And while I'm enjoying this view, I think it's a good time to address something that every game developer has to go through when they're putting something out there for public consumption, and that's a bad review. Dun dun dun. So we've had the game up for about 24 hours, and we had our first bad review, and it's that's fine. And we took some time and thanked the person for the review, which is always the first thing that you do. And I'm not going to go into detail about it because that's something that we need to have honest feedback, no matter who they are. And this person, I don't think, was a really a disc golfer or somebody that's excited about the concept itself. They just tried it out and you know gave the feedback that they thought. One thing in particular, though, is that they said the graphics were tragic, and I'm just gonna let this view speak for itself, I guess, for a second. Um, I don't feel tragic looking at it. So uh, yeah, there you go. That's all I'm gonna really say about it. Other than it's we got our first one out of the way, and we used it as fuel, and that's kind of what we do around here at Tree. And even the things that they said were great for us to look at when we want to get that crossover. So disc golf's a growing sport, and we want this game to have that reach beyond just fans of the sport itself. So that gives us a target. It tells us what do we need to do to have somebody like that pick the game up and say, I enjoy this, and I've never picked up a disc before, or know what this sport is about. But now maybe I want to play, or at least in the very least, I enjoyed this game. So better start throwing here before the sun goes down on me. Okay. So for anybody that's been following, if you've played the first two courses, you'll know that they are both par three all the way through. This right here is officially the first par four hole in Ultimate Disc Golf. So um, it'll be difficult until you can up your throw power, which we'll be dropping into the game here before too long. But it you know should be birdieable. I would say we'll try it. Okay, I like the way that faded at the end. Will wonder no longer, Pappy Jasper. He said he was wondering when or if they were getting a par four. So this one has, I believe, a couple par four on it, and I know some of the courses that we're working on, some that we haven't even posted any videos about yet, will definitely have some par four, and we're going to continue to kind of up that level. We didn't want to focus on the biggest courses for one until we had the flight physics a little bit more down, which would also give us time to kind of finalize the uh, player achievement and leveling system that will allow you to kind of increase your throw power and things like that. Okay, I'm losing light here. Oh, no, no, no. Angle of release will definitely help with that throw chat. Uh, big hyzer spike it right in there on that one is what I would typically throw. So even though we've got more fade, that's it's still kind of tough on just those ones you want to get that particular trajectory on. Come on, cactus. There we go. Maybe a forehand. Mm. Wow, can't believe I hit that cactus. Okay, that's fine. Run out of daylight anyway. Okay, so we've got the main menu hooked up where now we've got Dusty Canyon activated. So definitely happy about that. I'm excited to release that for the community. Have another course to play, a little more variety. Uh, One thing I will say is that you can explore the rest of the map. We're going to have to do another update to kind of have some of these blocking volumes as far as out of bounds, but it's a big map, so if you run to the end, it'll take you a little while to get there. But if you do, you can fall off. If we have time, we might actually do some basic ones, but it's a really big map, so we had to make a judgment call. Do we want to, you know, include that course in the next release, or do we want to just wait and kind of have some of those extra blocking volumes? So um, most of our players are pretty open-minded that we're early and we're still improving things. So I think it'd be a great reward for them sticking with us and making sure that we're not just giving them bug fixes, but something new to enjoy. Pappy Jasper on Twitch says, "Thank you for the preview of Dusty Canyon. Looks great. I appreciate that. I can't wait till we get the 18 and the 27, and you can kind of interact with all of them. But I think the 9 hole is going to be a great first one for everyone to enjoy." Okay, so we've got that set. And appreciate you being here, Pappy Jasper. And I'm going to go ahead and I think fix something that was a little bit confusing for you. I think you mentioned this on Discord about the account. So let me go ahead and play this here. So we're talking about this right here. And since we're doing really just Steam for now, and we're working on cross-platform stuff under the hood. The PC and Mac release and the Linux release will mostly use Steam, I think, for the foreseeable future. So we really don't need to have an account, because if you purchase the game through Steam Early Access, you're going to be using your Steam account anyway. So we're going to actually just disable this for the current PC build. Okay, and we're looking for the main menu. We're going to remove all that. Okay, and there we go. And we still have our kind of asset for that account, and if we need to re-enable it later or for a different platform, we still have it in there. Hopefully for our new players, that'll be a little less confusing, and we appreciate the recommendation and, you know, kind of pointing that out, Pappy Jasper. And he's also saying that was cool to see the process of how you deleted it, and uh, that's something that we hope to continue to do. And as a developer and also CTO of Tree Industries, I have to kind of come up how we're going to engage the community and what kind of process that we want to have for how we build technologies. So I won't go too far into it, but we're developing a lot of other stuff besides Ultimate Disc Golf. This really came together for us. Hey, what's up, Alex? We've got Alex Ogden on YouTube joining us. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. Let's see. So, you know, just kind of going back to, you know, the process of building technology. You know, I won't go, you know, way too far into it, but we wanted to be as transparent as possible in pretty much everything we do here at Tree. So besides gaming, we do a lot of work in open source software in terms of we work on projects for artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT. We're doing some things with augmented reality and virtual reality, and as far as 3D avatars. Sorry about that. So yeah, we've got like things like 3D avatars based on the Unity engine, and um, you know, we try to volunteer time and contribute to as many open source projects as possible, and so that goes into everything we do here at Tree, really. And showing the process of the game development when we started working on Ultimate Disc Golf was really something that was just a natural fit in my point of view. So we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully it's something that resonates with the community and allows us to, you know, promote the game a little bit and ourselves in general. Okay. Just got that. Give everybody a little sneak peek of the multiplayer. So we're still working on network replication of the actual discs and the flight and how that's all going to be processed on the servers. But we do have the matchmaking and lobby and some of the initial features set up. It allows us players to feel like we participated in the build. Great way to do things. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot more popular moving into the future. You know, you see how popular streaming in general is just in terms of gaming and a lot of other things. So hopefully we can keep refining our process, and I'll continue to get better. I'm still learning myself. I'm pretty new to streaming in general. Uh, been doing development for years and years, but kind of talking through it while I'm doing it is something I'm still learning. So I appreciate everybody's patience as I continue to get better with that. I think we need to go ahead and update some of these announcements. So get that noted for one of the next releases. Okay, I just need to figure out what I wanted to try to do next in terms of dev stream. I think that was kind of the main couple things I wanted to do. I think what we're going to do is we're going to launch the game. Haha. Okay. Alex is on YouTube is asking if you had a cover athlete, who would you choose for your game just for fun? And while not easy to answer, I appreciate that question. Um, that's a tough one. Uh, Personally, for me, I think. Sorry, I had to type something here real quick. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this one out there. I'm gonna go ahead and say, for me personally, James Conrad, and maybe we can, if we can like get him in like a fan with the hair going back for the cover, double thumbs up. I would love to hear what chat has to say. Who you think would make a good cover athlete for the game? Yeah. So Alex is saying Paul or Brody. Maybe Simon would sell the most, and I definitely, you know, those are three names that definitely come to mind in terms of household names for disc golf. Um, I I guess kind of going off of that, building this game for us has never been about a quick dollar. So it if I wanted a quick dollar, I could definitely, there's genres that I could build a game and probably easily just sell, and it wouldn't even have to be that great. You know, for us and myself personally, disc golf is something I've been enjoying for 20 years. Mostly casually, but I've made a lot of great friendships and the community around the sport. Um, so all those things are important to me in terms of seeing that come through in this game. And so, I feel like those other three would definitely sell and help us sell a lot of games, and I wouldn't mind that. But I think Conrad is a great personality. Um, I think anytime they get him in interviews, he's always doing something, pretty funny or unique. So I think he represents the sport pretty well. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna load up Dusty Canyon, kind of full version here, and see how it's looking. We're gonna change it to more like the morning. And uh, I'm not sure, chat, if the time of day is hooked up for Dusty Canyon yet. It should load here. More more cells equals more eyes to the sport. Yeah, that's a valid point, Alex. Definitely a valid point. Uh, I thought it was interesting, when we first put out the title for our game, Ultimate Disc Golf. We definitely, right in the beginning, had a couple people kind of, Ultimate Frisbee is already a sport, and those types of comments. And we didn't have a bunch, but we had a couple. And, um, for us, it was a little bit to pay tribute to disc sports in general, and kind of went with the theme. Um, so we decided to run with it, and it's kind of interesting that we kind of set the name, um, probably about 6 months ago, 5 months ago now, and now we have Brody Smith who's making the transition from ultimate to disc golf. So I don't know, maybe he should be the cover athlete. Chat, is the universe telling us something there? I don't know, but I think he's a pretty big, cool personality. Um, in terms of being a household name outside of the sport, he would definitely uh, be it. In terms of just all kinds of people watching his channel just for the trick shots, and besides what he's done with Ultimate Frisbee. Oh no, bad bounce. Oh, and a roll. Oh, ouch. Okay, this will give us a good chance to test our fade. Okay, there's a little bit of sun hazard on this course, if you notice, chat. Let's go putter. Where are we going, chat? Where are we going? Okay. Yeah, that was hella skip. Some little things in terms of how the disc skips off specific materials. We've got a lot of them done in terms of like if it's hitting grass that's tall or low. Um, I know Breezy Pines in terms of if it's hitting in the rough or if it's hitting on the fairway grass. There's different physical materials in the engine that dictates what type of skip that the disc has. And for Dusty Canyon, some of those might still be in work, so I'd have to check to be sure. But so as far as if I'm walking on sand right here compared to if it skips off one of these rocks. So as we complete the final versions, those would actually be kind of different, what they call physical materials inside Unreal Engine that will help kind of give some variation on that. Okay, where is the basket? That's what I want to know. Okay, right there. So Alex on YouTube is asking, have we ever seen a skip ace in the game yet? No, have not seen a skip ace in the game yet. I've come close. Uh, I still feel like the ground play needs a little bit of work. Um, I think on certain terrains we should see a little bit more opportunity to skip up in the basket. So it's kind of difficult at the moment, but a lot of moving pieces and everything's coming together step by step. So I do see that as something we plan to fine tune. You can, if you hit it just right, you can get close, but it's kind of unlikely. Most of the discs they get pretty low at the moment. I appreciate that question, Alex. Oh, this is going from bad to worse. Yeah, good eye, Alex. He's saying that the disc often lands upside down. I noticed after it hits the ground. I would like to see um, I would like to see them flip a little bit less after they skip, and sometimes if you hit right, that sometimes they'll still do a little bit of kind of twirly flip action, but um, we've got kind of the game plan to where we've got the first layer of flight physics and kind of ground play physics working pretty good, and the way that I kind of foresaw them being set up, where we have a pipeline that we can fine tune them. So that's getting pretty close, and I expect we'll be able to kind of fine tune those things where it doesn't quite flip as much. One, when it kind of deflects off something, sometimes it'll kind of go like that, or when it kind of just falls, sometimes it'll kind of it want to flip over. So what I'm really happy about is that we're starting to get to some of those littler things. Pappy Jasper says this looks like me at hole 10 and 11 on Sunny Birch the first couple of times I played. I'm guessing that you've got a bit better by now. It sounded like you've played the game or a few rounds at this point. So, but anybody who's throwing a real round knows that can definitely happen when you least expect it in real life. Oh yeah, the hill. Okay, on Whole Town on Sunny Birch. Yeah, so that it was extra difficult because we didn't have that fade really fixed yet. So if you see uh, the disc I'm throwing right now, uh, either one of them, as far as driver, putter, mid range, they have a better fade now. So this next version we release, Pappy, that should be a lot better for you. Hopefully, uh, it can still be a tricky one, but at least that disc, if you throw it way too hard, it won't turn and then just keep going. Where you're like, two two holes down, which could happen sometimes. Yeah, I think everybody that's given us feedback about that is gonna like that change and improvement. So Alex says I can give you a lot of feedback when I demo it on my console, the good and bad. We definitely appreciate both, Alex, and uh, thank you for being ready to try it out on console. That's yeah. Sorry, we had one other comment in chat here. So yeah, we're definitely pushing towards getting this on console. I know we're pretty happy getting out on Steam and being on early access, but at the core, we built this game from the ground up to be ready for consoles. So appreciate you being ready to try it out. Hopefully, as we get a little bit closer, we'll be able to announce solid timelines and release dates for maybe beta on different consoles. So Alex says he's liking the reaction off the rocks, looking sick. Yeah, I think it's looking good. Unfortunately, we don't have the sound effect for the impact yet for the rocks, so I'm looking for some sound effects, some impact effects for when it kind of dings a rock. Okay, run up this hill here. All right. Try forehand again. All right, here we go, chat. Ah. So not this next release, but the one after that. Have some, kind of an exciting announcement. I think a lot of people are going to be happy to hear this. We're going to be starting to include uh, more discs. So, let's see. Alex says your slow motion disc flight reminds me of Skyrim's kill cam. I appreciate that. I definitely enjoy that game myself. So, to anything compared to that in terms of our game getting compared to Skyrim, that's awesome. We appreciate that, Alex. And I know we don't have a full game that would compare to something like that yet, but we're gonna keep working it. I think in the end we're gonna have something that I think we're gonna be happy with what we put out there for the community, and I think a lot of people are hopefully going to enjoy. I know I'm most excited about getting the multiplayer finished up in terms of PC and Mac and Linux. Okay, I think I'm just gonna try to spin putt over this rock. So like I was saying, not this release, but the next one, we plan to expand the amount of discs in the game. So right now you just have putter, mid-range, uh, driver, but we've always planned to have not where it's just kind of a generic style of disc. So with one of these next releases, we're pretty much ready to start having actual kind of models where it's got its own name and then it's got its specific rating. Now that we've got all that part of the system close. And with that means we'll have things like overstable, understable, and on some of these throws where it's kind of hard to get that angle now you can throw one that's understable and get it to flip up and all those different things that you want to do. Throw overstable, a big, you know, hard hyzer. Yeah, there's gonna be lots of combinations. So it's gonna be really interesting to see people kind of master the different combinations. And even with what we only have so far, that's been pretty cool to see. Uh, some of the streamers and content creators, just the very first week from the alpha release, were already showing me lines that I hadn't thought of yet when testing the game, and some of our kind of internal testers hadn't tried. Like to see a little sand kind of drift up there. Again, I appreciate everybody joining us. Please, feel free to let us know in chat how your weekend's going, what you're up to. If you have a course that you think we should check out as inspiration for the game, feel free to drop that as a comment. We will definitely refer back to that and go check it out. Okay, I've just dropped the Steam store page for Ultimate Disc Golf into chat here. Again, we're in early access, so that essentially means that we're going to give a deal for the full version of the game, and you kind of get to play what we have done at the moment. So we're making progress quickly. If you're not excited about the game kind of in its current state, we wouldn't necessarily recommend go purchase it, but if you're a fan of the sport and you want to kind of see a game like this, kind of what you're seeing me demonstrate here today, go further and kind of come to consoles and things like that, definitely check us out on early access. Currently available for PC, and we're working on the Mac and Linux versions at the moment. Oh, get around. I'll take that. I'll take that, Skip. Whew. I think we're going to try a spin putt here with the mid-range. Almost full power. Oh, stay up. This doesn't look good, chat. Huh. So I've got Alex asking, what's your thoughts on a spectator mode for potentially tournament mode? There's no reason why we couldn't do that. The engine definitely allows for the ability to have kind of a spectator pawn that can kind of float around the level. So we're working on the different multiplayer game modes now that we have the lobby system and the matchmaking and some of the core things that we need for kind of peer-to-peer hosted matches at the moment. Eventually, we're going to be looking at things like dedicated servers when we need to actually start enabling the things like tournament mode. But I would definitely like to see a couple different types of tournaments and multiplayer modes. So, you definitely have, like your skins match, you have, dubs, and I would like to see maybe like even like an ace run where each person throws it once, goes for the ace, you don't get it, everybody moves to the next hole. Just whatever we can do to kind of have a lot of variation and create different entertainment value for players. And I would think that most of those would have some type of spectate mode. Okay, hopefully I got a clear line this time. So Alex says people could sit on the sideline, or people on sidelines could watch from that view and follow lead cards. Yeah, yeah, have maybe a kind of a spectator spot set up on each hole, and then you can kind of toggle or hit a button that kind of takes you to each one that you want to watch. I think that would be pretty cool. And um, from a technical standpoint, I don't think it would be a stretch for what we already have implemented into the engine. And he also says that would add to that open world feel RPG we're going for, kind of. Yeah, I think so. And I guess to kind of add to that, Alex, uh, esports is obviously getting bigger and bigger every year right now. And, if we could have some kind of esports element, I think it's a pretty good fit. We'll just have to see how far the game goes and what we can do with it. But I know that we've had comments like that and interest. So I think if we can build it, I think people will come from an esports standpoint. And from that, from an esports standpoint, definitely having the spectate and those types of things would be a cool addition. I think for now, as far as like the Steam multiplayer, we could essentially have it to where you could join. Somebody creates a lobby, hosts a round, and then you can join as a player or you can join as a spectator. And that's really just kind of adding to what we already have. Oh, yep. Okay, that's a bug we actually already have slated for fixing. I don't know that it'll be fixed for this next release because we want to get Dusty Canyon out, and we've got some other things that we want to go ahead and get released. Alex says he thinks the game's going to catch fire, and we appreciate that. I know I've said that a few times, but that's I'm trying to be humble. Um, the feedback we've gotten so far, it has been almost all positive. People are definitely honest about the bugs that there are, and we're honest about addressing them, and I go, oh well, that's just how it is, or things like that. We're definitely trying to be active and engage the community. So, hopefully we're gonna all grow together, and yeah, hopefully it is gonna be great. Considering the bug I just found, I would say it's the we still have a lot of work to do. Not really found, but ran into. We've had it reported. If you notice, I'm not launching the game through Steam because I have some of the latest stuff I wanted to show you all today as part of this kind of dev build. And after the stream tonight or today, we're going to be finishing up just a couple other things that we would like to have fixed for this next version. And then hopefully we'll be dropping a new release either later tonight or tomorrow. So if you've already gotten the game through early access, that's just going to automatically update for you. So awesome. Uh, we're also going to put the build up on itch if you're, kind of checking out the game for the first time and you're not sure. That's a good way to kind of check it out for free. If you get it that way you will not get things like the streaming updates. So, feel free to grab it either way, though. We want to hear your feedback. Please join our Discord. So Alex is asking how many people are on our staff. It's a pretty small staff, Alex. So I guess I'll go ahead and take this chance to maybe talk about our company a little bit. Take a drink here first, sorry. So Tree Industries was started 2 years ago by my wife, Jill Johnson. So she is the CEO, and I am the CTO. And we have, but besides the two of us who are full time, we really just have a couple part timers. I wouldn't even call them that. We do have a couple of contract developers. We send a little bit, not really send, but we kind of work closely with. We really haven't had to send out that much. It's really kind of a family based business at the moment, but we're quickly growing. Have a lot of different stuff going on, and so there's a lot of technologies companies out there, and there's a lot of big ones, and we're definitely small fish in those terms. But that being said, Jill had a vision for what a technology company could be, and I've been around technology and have owned my own website development company for 10 years, and when she told me her vision, I was hooked. So you look at things like the Facebook hacks and third party data, personal data being handed out, being third party, all these different things going on. We looked at that, and we really said, how can we do it differently? And so that was really just the start of one pillar of what we do at Tree. So everything we do is about privacy, open source, all those different types of things. And with that, we just started building technology. I had a lot of experience in web programming, so JavaScript, CSS, PHP, HTML, good knowledge of Photoshop, After Effects, a lot of those types of softwares as well. So, she really just, I kind of, ran with her vision. So she had this vision of her, how should technology be built? How should people be able to interact with it and engage with it? And I said, okay, so let's tackle and think divergently about some particular problems and just start building. And that's what we did, and that's when we started Trees. So the first year was a lot of kind of coming up with what type of problems do we want to tackle. And I won't get too deep in those today because we're really more kind of talking about the game. But we came up with a smart assistant for education. So if you're ever on Twitter, any of these social media sites that talk about technology, you'll hear or see videos, robots are going to teach your kids in 10 years or something along those lines. And you hear these big grandiose statements about technology, and we really wanted to flip that on its head. So who cares about what robots are going to do in 10 years? We have children, Jill and I, and our concern is what is going to help us now. And we thought about that, and so we went and sourced what are some voice assistant technologies out there that are actually worried about privacy. Okay, and so we came across this great project called Mycroft AI, and so they're a company out of Kansas City, and they've built a smart assistant platform built on Python. And so what we said is, okay, this is a great base and handles privacy the right way. So what are we going to do? We're going to take that and then build a smart assistant to actually help teachers, the people that are part of our education system, our public education systems that need the most help. And so that's been going really well. I won't get too much further into how that's going, but we got that project ongoing. We're working with a local university here to start testing that in schools and things like that. But it's really just been kind of our little staff here, our little family business. But I don't think that's going to last too much longer with the progress that we've made so far and the support, growing around this game. And, uh, hopefully as Tree grows, we're going to be able to bring in more divergent thinkers that have those same principles that we're trying to approach our technology with. So hopefully before too long, we'll have some more developers and, more engineers on kind of the other side of what we're doing besides the gaming. So, we'll definitely let you know next year, Alex, how much it's grown. One little thing I wanted to add to that, since I kind of have a little lull here and what I'm going to do next, we're going to be putting together the soundtrack for Ultimate Disc Golf. And so we've been starting to reach out to uh, indie artists and, um, different indie labels. Sorry, Pappy Jasper is asking, so when would this update go live? I am hoping by tonight, midnight maybe. So if we can get everything that I want to done, we should be able to drop it around midnight. At the latest, it would probably be sometime tomorrow morning. I appreciate that question. Yeah, so Pappy Jasper said earlier than he thought. Uh, I think it's been a couple weeks since our last release, so we know we wanted to be on a 1 to 2 week release cycle for Alpha. And it's a moving target as far as what we can get in, what maybe has to wait a little bit, but we're right at about that 2 week mark. So we're definitely going to drop a release either way. And I'm going to be really happy that we've got Dusty Canyon in there again. If anybody out there knows, an indie artist that's looking to, maybe get involved in something cool like a video game and get a little extra coverage for some of their music. Again, we're not a big studio. Um, that's why we're looking for indie artists, but we would definitely love to have some involved in building the soundtrack for the game. We've got a couple. If you're into metal, we've got a little. We've got a local band here. Shout out to Murder Machine. Jordan Lane on Mixer. She's amazing. So I guess that's an artist, Pappy Jasper. Awesome. I hadn't heard of her, but we will definitely check her out. Thanks for that. I'm hoping that we're building something kind of unique here that indie artists will find kind of something cool to get involved in. So we'll be building that soundtrack out over the next hopefully month or two, and then eventually drop that into a release. Okay, she's also on Spotify. Cool, cool. We'll check her out. For now, I'm gonna load up Breezy Pines here. All right. Well, while this is loading, this has been a fun stream so far. Appreciate it. We'll see how this is running in stream. So if this is lagging at all, chat, please let me know if I need to go back and lower the settings a little bit. Running a little slow for me with the stream, but we'll try it. There we go. Good start. Good start. So I really like this grass that we changed out with this last release on the fairways here. While we're here, shout out to Basinger's Disc Golf channel. Appreciate your support on the game, man. So they do coverage of disc golf. I think mostly in the Carolinas, kind of southeast, but they've supported the game, not just with kind of a flag sponsorship here, but just also in spirit. Appreciate all the kind words that you've said about the game up to this point in terms of the efforts that our team has put into it. So it's been much appreciated. Definitely check them out. They're on Facebook, Basinger's Disc Golf channel. I think right now he just posted a new video of the traveling disc. If you've not checked that out, if you ever heard of like the traveling pants. So for us disc golfers, that we have the traveling disc, and it's been making the rounds. So I saw the latest video earlier. I can't remember the latest place, but I think it's somewhere out here in the Midwest, close to where I'm at now. Okay, Jasper is asking if wind and wind direction is going to be something added in the future. Yeah, so if you see the flag and there's a couple things like the foliage kind of already moving, so that is actually already the wind system at work. We just have to take that and hook it into the disc. So this kind of goes back to, as the lead developer, kind of mapping out, how's a small studio? Are we going to take on something that has such complex physics and not get in over our head? And so, we did kind of the flat, stable flight physics at this point. And I did want to go ahead and add wind into that until we really had that polished. So we're getting pretty close, and we're, not going to have to take too long to actually take the wind system that's already in the trees and the bushes and on the flags and hook it into the actual disc flight. If I had to ballpark, I'd say probably 2 to 3 releases, and we should have the wind in there. Oh, spit out. Mm. You're welcome, Jasper. Thanks for the question. Okay, so before we had the improved fade, if you got this one up, trying to put a nice hyzer on it, it would go well past it to the left. So we're going to try it out here and see if it'll drop a little more consistently like we wanted it to. Should start dropping here soon. It's better. Okay, it's going to be a pretty long spin putt here. See if we can get it all the way there. I had a feeling that would be a little short. Oh, stay in. Nice. Nice. I'll take it. So we're gonna be livening up some of the UI elements in terms of like when it does par and some of the sound effects. So definitely want to kind of liven up the gameplay just a little bit more. But those are our little things at this point. Oh yeah, give me a skip. I don't know if Alex is still here, but that's what I was talking about, Alex. When it hit, instead of kind of going like that, it kind of flipped a little backwards. So we might have to do a little fine tuning and maybe fake a little bit of physics after it skips. Let's see. Jasper's asking on Twitch, what is the teleport key? So that is Y on the keyboard. If you're playing it with a controller, which the game is compatible with PS4 controllers, Steam controllers, and Xbox controllers, you can use the left trigger on the game controller to teleport. I will warn you, though, Jasper. Luckily, well, we would have loved to have you play the first version or two, but since you kind of joined us here more recently, you've had to experience a little less bugs on the teleport than some of our earliest players had. So it's working much, much better in version 3, which is the latest one out that I believe is what you're playing. But once in a while, it still doesn't work 100%. We still have a bug once in a while. And it's really under kind of certain scenarios, like right now. If your disc is parked, that was actually great timing for me to show that. If your disc is parked right underneath the basket, and that's an unfortunate bug for me. Yeah. This is why I love showing the process, though. We definitely had a lot of fun enjoying some of the earliest bugs. You know, we were really just focused on the flight and some of the core, the characters moving around. You're actually walking through the course. These were all things that hadn't been done in a golf game that I had seen. As a dev, frustrating. As a player, makes me laugh. Yeah, I try not to take things too seriously, Jasper. We wouldn't have gotten here if you get too serious about every little thing with your game, and I think that's true for a lot of things in life. You go all out, but you can't. If you're too serious and you get too down on yourself, then you never make those improvements. So. At least I have my pause menu, so we can restart that. So, right after the initial alpha was released in December, our buddy over at Disc Golf Comedy, Tyler, shout out to him. He streamed the game, and I told him. He said he was going to be doing the stream, and I was hanging out in chat, and I kind of told him, I said, hey, have fun with the bugs. There's definitely going to be a few, and, we're not going to take it too seriously. We're going to hang out and chat, have some fun, and we had put a lot of work into getting the initial alpha release out, and we needed to decompress. I needed to decompress. I had put in a lot of time, specifically myself as lead developer, and, he gets to stream in, and, he comes across the the animals. We had the small critters on this course, squirrels and rabbits, and they were all work. They would run around and everything, but if you got close to them, they didn't run away. They didn't have that kind of AI instinctual fear to run from you. And so, Disc Golf Comedy, he had figured out that you could jump on top of them, and it's something I hadn't really even thought about testing as we were going through so many other things. And so he hops on one and essentially rides it all the way across the course. So, he had a good laugh about it. We had a good laugh about it, and then we closed the bug. So, not right away. We let him have a little bit of fun, but I think it was the next release or after. But that was fun, and we didn't take it too seriously, and that allows us to say, okay, what do we need to do next? Having that great feedback from the community is just get so many more eyes on things from different angles. So as you can see, I found a couple of them, but they promptly ran away from me. They will also try to avoid your disc as well. There one goes right there. Wouldn't mind hitting an ace for chat today. Have to settle for parked. Just to also update everybody, we've got tomahawks. I know we've kind of talked about those being in work. We have the animation, the throw animation, just about. I'd say the first pass just about complete. I think it's going to need some more fine tuning, but we're going to have at least a basic one that we can drop in for release, and it'll be a good approximation of that tomahawk throw style. The only thing we're trying to finish up right now is kind of the we have the flight curve, but we have to get the disc to kind of rotate, kind of around that arc, that path that the tomahawk it has a very distinct flight path if you've ever seen a tomahawk. So we're getting really close. I don't think we're going to drop that in the release this weekend. I'm hoping in the very next release, maybe even might be one where we do kind of a 1 week out release just for the tomahawks, if we can get them all wrapped up for you guys. Not bad, not bad. Check something out here real quick. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. Oh, just outside the circle. Or our tap-in circle for the game anyway. I'm going to check our scoreboard, make sure that's working the way we want. That looks good. So when we first hooked up all the scoring and things, the scoreboards were actually taking the par into account. So for typical scoreboard, most of us know that it actually just takes the stroke number when you do your scorecard. So we got that fixed. A couple of people pointed it out, and I definitely, as a disc golfer, kind of felt, a little bit ashamed that I let that slip in there. But we got it fixed for this next release. All right, I think that might be a tap in. All right. Okay, so last time was just a little short. Really been wanting to figure out how to consistently birdie this hole. So, a little more skip would have been nice. That's okay. Ah, they just disappear. They're gone. This is makeable. All right, hole 5 and birdie straight through. Shout out to Discord user The Sin, who posted a perfect birdie round on Breezy Pines here. I think it was a couple days ago. So nice round there, Sin. Appreciate you posting that in our Discord. Jasper says, nice putt. Thank you. Yeah, one thing we're curious about, Chad, is overall, I'm happy with the mechanic of holding, timing the power, and then releasing in terms of being something that's easy enough for a lot of people to play. Uh, on the putts though, something we've talked about internally and we just haven't quite settled on is should there be a little bit more of a upgraded mechanic or maybe something slightly more challenging on the putt, where you have to kind of maybe measure it back and forth, and if you have to maybe time the hit twice. We can definitely do all those things, but our goal was let's keep the mechanics as simple as possible at first. If we want to go up from there, that's fine. So that's kind of why we approached it the way we did. All right, should be an easy putt here. No doubts. There we go. Look at the preview. I'll get a little drink here. Okay. I usually like a backhand on this one. Sometimes I smack this tree, though. Oh, oh, come on, chat. Right through the fork in the tree, parked right on the pole. Nice. Come on. Granted, I do have a lot of practice, uh, but it's been fun. I mean, it as a disc golfer, I get that same feeling when like it goes right through a tree and or the I guess kind of on the negative side too. Sometimes the same one when it hits the tree, but I guess that's the challenge, right? So I love the variation of it too, and having the disc cam where you get a great throw in it and it shoots right past the chains, and having that same feeling of ooh, We've seen people do that on streams and videos, and content creators having those same reactions, which has been amazing as a developer. And even though we're early, just to have that connection and seeing that already, it definitely to me seems like there's something special, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. So Alex is asking, can you do Annie or Heiser? So um, not at the moment, but it is already set kind of under the hood for us to be able to do that. So uh, we've covered that in some videos before, but that's okay if you haven't caught it. Essentially, we wanted to work on stable flat flight physics, and so what that means is we got driver, mid range, putter, and they're essentially what I would call stable, maybe slightly overstable. So we don't have the ratings listed, but that's essentially kind of what their rating would be. Um, and so we wanted to make sure that consistently on a range of devices, that when somebody's releasing the disc and they throw it and they time that power, that everybody's getting essentially the same flight path. So we know, okay, this is what stable is for our game, and and that's gone well so far. We've been able to debug and test just that with these first couple versions, and release some improvements. And so I'll show you here. One of the next releases will be kind of starting to actually add where you have angle of release, and so just like real life, depending on your specific disc rating and how much you angle it and the throw power meter, it's going to give you a different flight path every time. And so that's obviously a very complicated setup. And I played disc golf games before. I've played golf games before. I think it's going to be, one of the most realistic representations of flight to be found in a video game if we can pull it off. So easier said than done, but we're well on our way. And I'll show you here, Alex, if I can find my disc here. We have started adding in the animations to the latest release. Okay, so I'm going to go to first person view here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll the the middle mouse button up and down. And right now it kind of turns the wrist kind of more so than the whole arm. So we need some, kind of more all the way arm angle twist there. But you can see we've started, if you look at the GUI at the left bottom corner, so you can see the wrist rotates, and that little disc on the screen kind of represents what angle you're going to release it at. And so now that we have those, kind of flat, stable physics worked out, our team's already kind of putting in work to get the first version of angled release of flight. So it's very, very complicated. So there was a couple ways that we could have approached this. There's some very, very tricky math that we could try to account for every possible angle, and then try to have some type of calculation which would kind of represent real physics of how much angular dampening is created, depending on the spin rate and the rating and all that. How much is it actually going to turn? What we're probably going to do is have kind of set triggers for the angle, and that's going to allow us to much more easily define the flight path. So if you think about, okay, you have the throw power, and then you have the actual different discs that we have, which each has their own speed, fade, and turn rating, and weight actually as well. And then different tiers of angle of release. We're probably going to have flat, and then probably 3 or 4, each way. And that should give you, pretty much endless combinations of how you could throw it. And we'll see how that goes, because that's going to be, I think, a lot more stable, a lot easier to debug doing it that way. Because doing it that way, we can also use all the same things that we've used for the rest of the physics flight that you've kind of already seen in the game so far. So we're excited about that. That's pretty close. As you can see, we got the animation here, and we're also working on some throw animations that will kind of vary depending on the angle. So if you're throwing like a big spike hyzer backhand, your throw will kind of look a little more like that home run in baseball, that base home run swing. Same thing if you're throwing Annie, kind of coming out across the chest more. All right. Okay, chat. One day I'll figure out how to keep the game going and talk at the same time. But uh, till then, sorry if I kind of get off track and start talking. I definitely enjoy answering questions, so keep them coming. But sometimes I get a little off track and the game kind of stalls here. So I appreciate that. Alex said it sounds sick. I know I'm definitely excited for it. It's definitely going to add a great element to the game, I think. And as we add more, complicated courses and higher difficulty courses, it's definitely going to be important to know how to utilize those different angles. All right, chat. We're close to perfect ground here. So Alex is asking, once you get your formula down, you can take your discs out to an open field and test your flights out as a developer. Um, I guess as far as in game, I don't really have like a practice field set up in game, but you know, if that is what you're referring to, we've had a few people asking about like a practice mode where you can just kind of test out different throws and um, different flight and stuff like that, get used to the game. And we're definitely looking at that. We've kind of started on one, kind of like a little map where you can kind of just walk around and it wouldn't have scoring. It would just let you kind of switch your disc, throw it. We're still kind of working out. Should it just leave the disc you just threw on the ground and just leave it there forever, or kind of how it works in like the actual round where you walk over it, it kind of like picks up your disc by destroying it. So we'll see. We're kind of just uh, finalizing those ideas and putting together that. So uh, kind of appreciate you bringing that up, Alex, because I know a lot of people have asked about that, and hopefully I don't have a timeline on that, but it will definitely be coming in the near future. Definitely, maybe. It seems to be a popular request, so if I have my say, and I do because I'm the lead developer, we're gonna add it at some point. Oh, chat, chat. Okay, I think cross step with the putter, maybe about 2/3, 3/4 power, and we'll see what we can do. Oh no, no, Alex, I'm not gonna say you jinxed me by saying I was having a hot round, but That's what we do in disc golf, right? Oh, almost no chance here. Maybe once we've got angle and can drop it in there. Yeah, I'm real life. I'm pretty good at these. I would say my drives are okay. I can get up there a little over 300 without blowing my arm out. If you hear a dog in the background, I'm at the home office today, chat. So I think somebody just got home. We've got a beagle. We adopted a couple years back. So okay, that's okay. If this is real life, I would have dropped that one in there for sure. Sorry about that, Jasper. His dogs are talking back. I'm gonna let's see. Yeah, so Alex is mentioning being able to just test flight patterns and stuff for like big throws. Um, I'd say right now we do most of that. Just I can load up a level, and if I need to change stats and stuff. So yeah, I can test some of that different stuff internally. I usually just do it right on the courses that we're building because I think it kind of, as a developer, allows me to think about tee placement and basket placement and interesting shot choice. All those things that a course designer is going to need to think about. I am by no means a professional disc golf course designer, but I've been reading up and definitely try to look for best practices and those things that make a course interesting and try to put those into what we're building here. So yeah, testing out on the actual courses kind of helps me do that. But um, I think for players, as you start to unlock more disc varieties and things like that, I think it's going to be cool to have a practice course. Okay, so what did we score here? Okay, that should not be a four, chat. Pretty sure I got a par. Okay, so with the new scoring, it actually looks like the last hole, along with hole 10 showing on here, is the last two things we need to do. So we're going to be buttoning those up here. I think what I'm going to be doing is getting ready to end the stream. I want to thank everybody again for checking out the stream today and hanging out with me while we kind of celebrate the early access Steam release. Please, if you have a friend or family member who's a gamer who maybe hasn't played disc golf before and you're looking for something to kind of pique their interest, please have them check out the game. Even if it's early, we'd love to have them follow the progress as we continue to improve it. You're very welcome, Jasper. I'm glad that I could provide a little bit, hopefully a little bit of entertainment and the info. Glad that it was good, fun for you. We'll definitely be doing some again soon. We're going to be doing more giveaways throughout the rest of this weekend. We did our Twitter one today. If you missed that earlier, we're going to be reaching out to that person, and they'll have a little bit of time to claim it. And we're going to send them a Steam key for the full copy of the game. Just to wrap things up, we've picked out 2 followers from our Facebook page for Tree, and they're going to be also be getting a Steam key that unlocks the full game forever. We're going to be reaching out to them later this evening, so we're really excited about that. We're glad that we finally have something we can kind of reward the community with for following us up to this point. And we're going to try to do a stream later tonight, maybe tomorrow. It depends. After we get off the stream today here, chat, I'm going to be kind of working on the last few pieces with the team for the next release. And, hopefully we get that done quickly enough. After we put out the build, might hop back on for another stream later, do one more giveaway. Who knows? if that doesn't happen, for sure, tomorrow and whenever we stream next and throughout the rest of the weekend, we're going to be looking to give away at least a couple more, maybe a few more permanent Steam keys for the game. So, spread the word, let people know. Let them know about the stream coming up. They'll have a chance to get a free copy of the full version. I think that's about it. Thank you again for joining us. Hope you will play the game. Leave your feedback on Discord. You can find the Discord link or invite on our Steam page, and I'm going to drop the Steam link in here one more time for anybody that comes and checks the game later. Please check it out on Steam. Everybody have a great night, and Jasper, thanks for hanging out again. You were here the whole time, and appreciate all the questions. So you have a good night, man. We'll be back soon. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.